Franken scandal haunts Gillibrand's 2020 chances just a month after Al Franken formally resigned from the Senate amid sexual misconduct allegations. The former senator met with an intimate group of Bay Area supporters at the home of major Democratic Party financiers Mary and Steve Swig. As Franken and his wife, Franny Bryson, made the rounds, thanking supporters in the philanthropist's San Francisco home at the February 2018 event, the conversation broke off into another subject: Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. The New York Democrat had, in their opinion, pulled the rug out from under Franken, a Minnesota Democrat beloved by the group, forcing him out without any real vetting of the allegations facing him. It was said not in front of Al to impress him. It was said privately in a corner. A group of us were standing there talking about it. He was one of our best weapons against this administration, his presence on these committees. Gillibrand did the damage that Republicans could not do themselves, one of the attendees told Politico. There were other people at this event who were saying the same thing. They said, "Absolutely, I will never do anything for her." Today, nearly a year after Gillibrand led the charge in calling for Franken's resignation, the anger is fresh on the minds of major donors across the country. More than a dozen prominent West Coast, New York and national donors and bundlers, many of them women, said they would never again donate to or fundraise for Gillibrand, or would do so only if she ended up as the Democratic presidential nominee. Gillibrand has defended her approach by insisting she placed deeply held personal values over party loyalty. But the still-burning resentment among the donor class now confronts Gillibrand as she explores a presidential bid, cutting her off from influential and deep-pocketed contributors and their networks at a time when an expansive 2020 field will compete for their dollars. Among those donors is Susie Tompkins Buell, a prominent Democratic fundraiser and co-founder of Esprit and the North Face clothing brands, who said the matter remains fresh in her mind and among those in her circles. "The episode," she said, "stained Gillibrand's reputation as a fair player. I do hear people refer to Kirsten Gillibrand as opportunistic and shrewd at the expense of others to advance herself, and it seems to have been demonstrated in her rapid treatment of her colleague Al Franken," she said. "I heard her referred to as she would eat her own, and she seems to have demonstrated that. I know Gillibrand thought she was doing the right thing, but I think she will be remembered by this rush to judgment. I have heard that some of her women colleagues regret joining her." The anger is at least in part a testament to donors' fondness for Franken, a comedian who rose to fame as a Saturday Night Live cast member and remains in the eyes of his supporters one of the Senate's greatest champions for women even after his resignation. Several of those who talked to Politico also spoke of an inter-party struggle to keep Franken from resigning, fearing he was swept up in a panic at the time. A Change.org petition opposing Franken's resignation had 75,000 signatures. Some blamed the media for rushing to publish allegations without a full vetting. "I could stay on the phone all afternoon talking about this," said a Manhattan-based member of the Majority Trust of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, an elite group of top donors, who has donated to Gillibrand in the past. "Let me tell you how strongly I felt about it. I didn't even vote for her in the recent election. I left it blank. I thought she was duplicitous," the donor said. "Once the whole thing happened with Al Franken, it was confirmed 1,000,000,000% that she's not to be trusted. I think that she hurt the Democratic Party. I think that she hurt the Senate. I think that what she did for women in politics was dreadful." The Franken accusations came in the weeks after a parade of powerful men were toppled by the #MeToo movement. Among them Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, Louis Creek and Garrison Keillor. The wounds over Franken's ouster were reopened, some Democrats say, during confirmation hearings for Brett Kavanaugh, who faced sexual misconduct allegations but still was seated on the Supreme Court. One major national Democratic fundraiser told Politico the level of residual anger runs the gamut, but it's still very much present. "I know Kirsten well, and I know Al well. It's tragic what happened to Al, and a lot of my donors feel anywhere from strongly to adamantly about anger at Kirsten for what she did. Others see that it was a way to kind of grab the high ground with no ambiguity, the fundraiser said. Personally, I lean towards I think Kirsten overdid it. It's such a shame that Elle couldn't just go through the process and be reprimanded, or censured. At the moment it happened, it was understandable,